Hi guys, Mike Goldstein of EasyDatingCoach.com. Welcome. Today's topic, the most shocking reason you are going to be alone forever. Now, why is this important? For anyone watching this, I'm assuming you're watching this because you want a partner and you don't want to die alone, and maybe you've gotten married, maybe you've gotten divorced, and maybe it's happened a few times, and you're like, why does this keep not working? Why do men disappear? Why do I get the third, fourth dates and then they're out of there? Why do they disappear after 6 months? Why do they disappear after a year? Why can't I make this work? And that's what we're going to uncover in today's video. So I got your back. We're going to solve it for you today. But first I want to tell you a story about how I screwed things up really my entire life. So that maybe you can relate. And I'm going to be a bit vulnerable in this one because I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you this. But that's what I got to do to help you, I think. So anyway, the thing I was doing wrong is I hated women. And I don't even think I knew it until pretty recently. But growing up, I didn't value women at all. And reason being was I was really into sports, and you know, men were better at sports as a kid. And I was like, well, what's their value? They're not as good as my male friends or me. Like this, that's not helpful. So that was one. Then I get even older, and then when I got in logical arguments, I found women not being logical and being emotional and being quote unquote crazy. So instead of me learning how women work, what I did was I just put them in the crazy bucket, and so did a lot of my male friends because we didn't know any better. Fast forward, I get to college, and for the most part, and I'm going to make this worse than it probably was, but I saw women as conquests. How can I bring a woman home? How can I go to this frat party? How can I talk to her and convince her that, you know, she wants to spend the evening with me? And a lot of you are probably like, Mike, you're disgusting. Like, I can't believe I'm listening to your dating advice. And we're going to give you some sweet justice, I think. So I then fell in love with a woman post-college. And once again, I still didn't understand women. I still didn't value them. And every time we got in an argument, I just put her in the crazy bucket because I didn't get women. Anyway, fast forward a long enough time, this woman cheated on me with one of my very good friends. Karma's real. And I was crying my eyes out for 3 months straight. And it was terrible. It was horrible. Finally, I picked myself up and I'm like, I need to figure this out. And I started reading every book under the sun on how women work, how dating works, how sex works, how online dating works, all these things. And finally I realized, well, I didn't understand women, but here's how they work. Thank you, John Gray. He was probably the biggest proponent of me finally figuring it out. But how does this relate to you? Well, I interact with women all the time, and probably 95%, 97% of you do not know how men work. And that is the reason that relationships are not working. You don't understand how he operates, and you haven't taken the time to really figure out how men work as a sex. And once you do figure them out, then you can play the game at a higher level. Then you can have real love, which is what most of you are contacting me for. Is you want this like soulmate, you want this love, you want this compassion. Well, if you don't do the work to figure out how men work, then I don't really see how it's gonna mold together. So this is a big ask. Part of it can come from just changing a little thing where every time you get in an argument, instead of getting defensive, it becomes getting curious. But then there's a lot of research that you can do. And I don't want to leave you stranded, and I can't teach you about men in just one video. But I do have a playlist called What Do Men Want? Understanding Men, where I have 23 videos. And that's a good start. So what I'm going to do is I will put that link so you can watch some free videos on how men work, how they operate. I'll put that in the description, and I'll also put it as the top comment. But it's time for you to figure out how men work. I wish I could go back for probably the 20 plus years of my life, from when I was an infant, of just not understanding the value of women and thinking they're the inferior sex, when in reality we're 100% equal. We both have amazing things to offer, but until you spend some time and realize, wow, women have 10 times more receptors between the hemisphere of their brains. They have this empathetic nature. They have this nurturing thing. They will give you a hug and actually care and listen to you, where your male friend wants nothing to do with that. And women are going to support you, and they are amazing at building a household, and they are neat and they're clean, and there's just so many, the list goes on and on about how amazing women are, and they're beautiful and they're compassionate, and they're just, I could go on forever. I love women now, but I had to go through a journey to figure out what makes them so great. And part of that is hopefully a journey you can go on to figure out what makes men so great. Because if you look at men from a woman's standpoint, let's be honest, they're not compassionate, they're not clean, they're not that hygienic, they don't make a good household, they're not compassionate, they don't want to listen, they're not empathetic. So it's these guys stink. I want my girlfriend, she's empathetic, she listens to me, she cares. But there are great pieces to a man. He's strong, he's going to be your rock, he's not going anywhere, he's just this big rod of security. If you get the right man, he's going to be your protector, and he can withstand maybe when you're having a bad day and you load some stuff on him. He's just going to still be that rod, that unmovable rod of just security. And so we need to figure out how he works so we can operate in both of our, the ways we'd like to operate, so we can both have this amazing relationship. Anyway, guys, once again, playlist down there. Go watch some more videos. I've got your back to explain how men work. I love all of you, and we will see you next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.